friend in this situation, no one to talk to. There's a word called emnos consoli, which means without a friend to advise. With that, I can put my confidence in no one to take counsel in. David felt like he didn't have a friend that would stick closer than a brother. He felt like he had no one to talk to, and sometimes this will lead you to talking to yourself. Proverbs 14:14 tells us, where there is no counsel, the people fail in the multitude in the counselors, though there is safety. He knew that continually projecting to himself what to do was to no avail. We often try ourselves to work it out, but none of our projects seem to work. Proverbs 14:12 says, there is a way which seemeth right unto man, but the end of the ways are death and destruction. See, David was trying to figure it out himself, but he knew that in the midst of what he was going through, he couldn't handle it himself. He needed God. David was waiting, wanting nothing more than to trust in God and lean not on his own understanding, but acknowledge God in all his ways. And because of this, he had some sorrow in his heart, knowing that we can easily allow the sorrow in our hearts to lead to the destruction of our soul. See, when you start looking at it your own way, trying to figure it out your own self, that is a way in the road to destruction. But if you say, Lord, order my steps, let me follow after you, let me acknowledge you in all my ways and lean not on my own understanding. I know that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Why? Because the deacon made it earlier. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. So just hold on a little while longer. I'm here to tell you it's going to be all right. Well, let me get ready to shut this down because I feel pretty good right now. But also, by day, when light agrees started flirting. See, David was not able to deal with this situation, even when it was solitary and silent. But also he was dealing with this even in the midst of when he was at work and when he was dealing with stuff to try to get his mind off of it. He thought that going to work might bring him a fresh occasion of his grief. But the cloud always seemed to return after the rain. David said, how long will my enemies be exalted over me? We often feel like the unrighteous always get the victory over us. We're just running from wilderness, from cave to cave, all the while trying and wanting to desire to trust in God. You said, Lord, you never leave me nor forsake me, but my enemies are all around me. You seem to be nowhere to be found. David began to feel like he was losing the battle as well as the war. It's one thing to know that sometimes you're going to lose a battle here and there, but when the war seems to be overtaking you, you seem to lose patience. I know someone out there saying, just be patient, hold on, your change is going to come. But I'm here to tell you today that there's one thing about being patient. See, you can be patient while you know God is walking with you, when you know God is talking with you, when you know God is holding your hand. But it's another thing about being patient when you're under the midst of persecution, when you seem like there's no friend in sight to be found, when it seems like the storm never wants to leave, and you got no umbrella, when you got no protection in the midst of what you're going through, when the pressures of the world are all around you, and you look to your left and you don't see God, you look to your right and you don't see God, you look before you and there is no God, you look behind you and you don't seem to see God. It's hard then to say be patient, my brother, that a change is going to come. But David just said, Lord, how long? How long is this trouble going to rise? How long are my enemies going to surround me? How long will you forsake to see me and me to see your face? Yet through it all. Yet through this all. Yet through this all. David somehow turns a fleshly prayer into a spiritual prayer. See, one thing about it is that if you stay down on your knees long enough, we'll look to us on our knees to be unable to bear. Will soon allow us to take consideration of him that can handle all our needs. David says, consider me, O Lord, and lighten my eyes lest I sleep the sleep of death. O Lord, David is magnifying God and exonerating him, saying, you are Lord of lords and you're King of kings when he says, O Lord. And he knows that he's an awesome God, that he can do all things. Even though in the midst of his struggle, he says, I'm going to take the time to stop complaining and start praying to you. I just need to take the time to have a little talk with you, God. And I know that you'll make everything all right. I know that you might not come when I want you to, oh Lord, but when I need you, Lord, you're right on time. David begins to consider, to ask God in the midst of his complaints and conditions, Lord, hear my humble cry. He says, enlighten my eyes, lest I see that which my flesh is able to see, and be able to see what my faith believes there. Even though I can't see it, God, you allow my faith to know it's true, oh Lord. Allow me to know that you can work in the midst of what I'm going through. Though I see destruction in front of me, though I see persecution in front of me, show me a bright morning star, oh Lord. Only you can do this. He said, God, strengthen my faith, for faith is the eyes of the soul, with which it sees above and beyond mere physical things. I don't know what you're looking at in your circumstances right now, but if you look through faith in God, you can see what the world can't see, what only God can show you in the midst of what you're going through. He said, Lord, enable me to look behind my present troubles and foresee the beneficial outcome. Let the eyes of my faith be clear, that I may see God in the dark. Let my eyes be watchful and wide open, unless I be entrapped to see the right way, Lord. He said, lest my enemies say I prevailed against them, and those that trouble me rejoice. When I am moved, David knew that his enemies were God's enemies, and his victory is God's victory, and that God could not allow the devil to get the victory. And essentially he says, don't give the devil rejoicing power through weeping and wailing, and we make the devil think that he has the victory. But God will never give the victory. Yet in the midst of David's prayer, though he started in despair, David recalls from back in the days, he said, I have trusted in thy mercy. The word trusted is used in past tense. Have you ever took time to look back over what God has brought you through when you begin to pray? If he brought me through this, then I know he'll bring me through that. Sometimes you got to look in the rearview mirror and see where you came from, and then you'll know where you're going. He said in past tense, Lord, I'm trusting in you, and I'm going to continue to trust in you. But he did not stop there. He said all the words, when I look back over my life, and I see what you've done for me, my soul says, yes, I'm trusting in you when you was a shepherd. When I was a shepherd boy, attending to my father's sheep. When I was able to kill the lion and the bear. I trusted in you when I slayed the giant Goliath. I trusted in you when I fought the Philistines. I trusted in you in the wilderness when I fled from Saul. Because I know that down through the years, Lord, you've been good to me. You've been better to me than I've been to myself. Not only good to me, but you was good to my mama. You was good to my grandma. You was good to my grandpa. And I know that you're that good to me. And then David goes on. He goes on to say that my heart shall rejoice in our salvation. The word shall means future tense. He said every day might not be joyful, but weeping might endure for this night. But in the morning light, my joy shall come. My change is going to come. I'm not going to always be here. I know that my future is better than my past is. What he started in the beginning, greater things are here to come in the last days. David was saying that this But let me tell you the best thing about this. The best thing about this, while David was having a little talk with God, he said in verse 6, David said, I will sing unto the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. He said, right now, in this present time, right in the midst of this storm, right in the midst of what I'm going through, while I still got breath in my body, I'm going to sing a song to the Lord. See, sometimes you got to break out to sing it. You got to have a song in your voice, a song in your heart to be able to sing in the midst of what you're going through. You thank God for what he's done for you in the past. You know God will bless you in the future. But right now, can you sing in the midst of what you're going through? Do you have a song in the midst of what you're going through? Can you sing down through the years? I know that God's been good to me, he said. Because he is, he said, I know I can face tomorrow. This battle is not yours, but the Lord. Sing a song, how great is our God. I'm so glad that Grandma used to sing a song called Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. She used to sing that song, So Love Me. Then Mama used to sing a song, said, you don't know like I know what God has done for me. He's been good to me all the time. It's been a long time coming. My grandma used to pray, but I know my change is going to come. Ain't no God good enough to do what my God can do for me. Even though I've been here for a while, I used to like to hear Kirk Franklin say, I'm going to smile till my change is going to come. Do you got a song in you right now that you're willing to sing? Amazing Grace. David said, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. If you're going through something right about now, you ought to have just a little talk with God, and he will make everything all right. Just a little talk with Jesus. Every now and then, when trouble rises, he'll bring the blessing. I don't know about you,